Welcome back to another episode of the Off the Pine podcast. Jack here speaking, joined here with my good friend and co-host Trid. Here we are on a Tuesday evening. Great slate of basketball happening, and
We
we have a
might
good.
be on the midst of a Woj bomb. I mean, we'll probably talk about it when it happens next week. But as of right now, the Pacers and Raptors are in hot talks to send Pascal to Indiana. The alleged trade of 3 first-round picks, Bruce Brown, which kind of is a bummer for Indiana. I like Bruce Brown a lot. Come playoff time, he's a great guy to have. And then Jalen Smith and Obi Toppin. I like Obi too. Like, ugh. It's a hefty trade for Pascal. It's a hefty trade, especially when he said I want to test free agency no matter what, which is crazy. I feel like Indiana can't do that deal unless they get an extension like inked that like right after the trade. Like I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's tough because like technically that's tampering, I believe, to like already have
Well,
a.
can he not sign it? Is he not like is this not an extension eligible period?
He's eligible, but he came out and said, "I want to test free agency." So I think he wants to see free agency. I think it's difficult when it comes to trading. I don't know if you can talk to a guy before you trade for him. I'm not 1,000% sure on that
Well, I
legality.
mean, like I was like I'm saying in the actual trade itself, like when they get like I feel like you would have to get Pascal to agree to like if they're gonna make this trade, you'd have to get Pascal to agree to like an extension or something.
Like a sign and trade, essentially.
Yeah, like you're leveraging like a lot of like you're like Obi and 3 picks and Bruce Brown is a great player that you could have on that team next year too. Like for just a rental of Pascal Siakam, like who's in the end of his prime, like it's kind of I would want some insurance on that.
Yeah, I definitely. We'll talk about it when it happens for sure. It still hasn't happened yet. It's up in the air, but I don't love it, but that's for, that's not here nor there. But outside of that squad, we have a great 4 quarters of NBA content tonight. We're gonna dance around. We're talking trade teams. Got a couple of teams on the docket to chat about, and then we're gonna end with our all-star selections.
Yeah, baby, let's go.
So I thought for our first quarter topic, we could kind of go with a team that's been banged up.
Ooh,
They're
ooh,
ooh.
I have a lifestyle thing I would like to share with the folks.
Oh,
So,
I like.
I've not drank any alcohol in 15 days now. I'm doing dry January, folks. I've been in the gym. I'm quitting vaping. My last one just died. I'm a Zen man now for the time being. Uh, Trae is focusing on health and wealth and basketball this year. Watch out, ladies. Watch out.
Wow.
Watch out, big business, because I'm standing on business. That's
I
it.
mean,
That's all I got. All right, we can
oh.
talk about the Grizzlies. We can talk about the Grizzlies.
I
Yeah, yeah. Honestly,
appreciate
this is
the
like a team. Like
positivity.
I said it. Like you had them in your playoffs, and I was like, absolutely not at the beginning of the year. I'm like, I just knew like with the Josh suspension, I'm like, this team is just. I just didn't see them surviving. They just weren't deep enough for me. They didn't have enough scoring outside of Bane. Like I just didn't think they'd survive the suspension. In addition to Ja just being out for the year, and goddamn, he looked so good for those few games. He looked
I
so good.
I don't think I had him in my playoffs. I
I
think you're.
thought you did. I thought you
Mm,
did. You had them a lot higher than I had them, to put it like that. But either way, and then Desmond Bane's out for 6 weeks. I mean, you already lost Steven Adams again for the year. You lost your bouncer in the club. Like this team's like absolutely depleted.
yeah,
Like so, you
yeah.
think you go in tank mode, but like you used to have 4 teams that have a huge head start on you in Charlotte, San Antonio, Detroit, Washington. So you're kind of just in a shitty position. Like this draft is it's not a good draft. I'll put it
It's
bluntly.
it's not a good draft in comparison to some of the recent ones we've had.
Yeah.
Especially like there's not top line talent
There
where
isn't a guy I look at. I'm like, yeah, this guy's a star. I don't. There isn't that player in this
and
draft.
there are guys. There's been those guys in the past couple years, and the year after this draft, we have the big name Cooper Flag coming out that people are pretty hype on. But this okay. What are you doing? You
Sorry,
feel
sorry. I
confused.
actually clicked. I actually clicked on something.
Jeez, my goodness. Well, yeah, this Grizzlies team, yeah, they got Bane out for 6 weeks, Marcus Smart out for 6 weeks, Jake LaRavia out for 3 weeks, Brandon Clark is supposed to be coming back around the trade deadline, hopefully. But
Who
if
cares?
depending upon where the season goes, I mean,
Doesn't
they might
matter.
just let him ride. Derrick
Yeah.
Rose has been banged up all season long, and then yeah, Steven Adams and Ja out for the entire
Oh,
season.
yeah. I feel like
It
you and me kind of said it too. Like that Marcus Smart trade was just like you and me were kind of the same page. We're like, I don't know about this.
it like
Like Tyus was running with the starters like the last 2 years and winning games.
winning game.
Like Tyus was a winning player, and like Marcus is just out of his prime. He doesn't look good. He's a fucking brick offensively. He's not nearly as good as he was on defense, like as he was a couple 2-3 years ago. I mean, he's just they got him like way out of his prime, like, and the fit was just weird. Like that's highest trade is just really biting them in the ass, and just like the whole like thing about hoarding their draft picks. We're gonna hold on to the David Roddies and Conchars of the world, and just like we're just gonna keep all these guys because they're gonna develop one day. We're gonna develop. We're not gonna trade for Mikal Bridges. We're not gonna trade for Anunoby. We're not gonna try to get like just just idiocracy. Just poor fucking management. Just a mismanaged team.
it it's tough because I mean yeah, we were both on the same page. The Marcus Smart trade didn't make sense. They were trying to put a band-aid over the whole, we're losing Dylan Brooks, our star
Yeah.
perimeter defender. So that's why they went out to get, a previous defensive player of the year, Marcus Smart, and which,
Yeah.
that, maybe on contention for that one. But exactly your point. It's mismanagement in the sense that their young guys haven't really turned out. I mean, Roddy has flashes. Laravia just
I
hasn't
think they
played enough.
got that Kenny Lofton they got rid of. Was it Kenny
They got
Lofton they got rid of?
they got rid of Kenny Lofton, and now he's on the Sixers G League team. Which I mean,
Yeah.
he started one game for the Grizzlies last season,
He's
and
beast.
he had a 40 ball. So
Yeah, dude, he's a dog. I mean, they just like for some reason want to just hoard these like custom G League players. When
well, they
they
do.
had all the assets and picks to go get guys like Anunoby in cap space to go get guys like Anunoby and Mikal. Like they just didn't like, which they needed to do. They needed like an upgrade somewhere. They needed to
I
get better.
I will say with looking at their numbers, they have a lot of money on the books, and
Yeah,
they're
with
going to
the
need
big three.
next season. They're going to have 183 million dollars in contracts, which is past the first apron.
Yeah.
I believe it's flirting with the second apron. I don't have those numbers right next to me.
Hmm.
They definitely, it's looking like they're probably going to be trading Luke Kennard at this trade deadline. He has a
Makes
$14
sense.
million team option. They'll probably try to get rid of him, or else they'll just cancel that team option for next year. When it comes to trades, it's really all that jumps out. I mean, like maybe Marcus Smart, but he's going to be injured when they trade him, so the team's really going to have to want him. I will say I've been poking around the Grizzlies, and they do have two young guys that have been showing a lot of promise, and it's this
Oh,
Gigi
that G.G.
Jackson
Jackson. Yeah.
and Vince Williams Jr. Both these guys last night, Gigi had 23, 6, 1, 2 steals, 2 blocks. And then Vince had 24, 7 and 4 with 2 steals and a block. That is the one value of losing all your top end players, is that you're going to figure out if you have young talent, and if they can get 2 wings like this for the price tag that they're on, it will help them be able to come back and build a competitor around Ja and Bane and Triple J. But definitely a lost season for the Grizzlies. And as we said, no top end talent in the draft. Even if you might end up with like the fifth highest odds, and maybe you win it, maybe you win,
Yeah.
but like it's. I mean, it's still early. It's only January. Obviously players can really blossom during March Madness, and we'll see more from our foreign
Yep.
players. I don't know. This is just a it's I don't even know how you really talk about a team that has so many injuries and really nothing else going for
Yeah.
them.
I mean, they just like they got to go the next year. They just got to revamp the team around them as much as they can. I mean, Bane's like Ja, Bane, and JJ are really good players. I mean, Ja's like it's absolute stud. You know, Bane is I don't want to say he's one dimensional, but like for I mean, is he
Uh,
worth? Is he a $50 million player in a retro in like in a vacuum? Is he worth $50 million? Like
I don't think that's his max. I think he's on a 30 million
I
max.
don't think he is. I think he's on a fat ass contract. I think he's in the 40 to 50 range because
There,
they paid that motherfucker.
there's no way. Um, oh wow, I guess okay. So next year he's making 34.
Yeah.
In his final year of the 5-year deal, he'll be making 44. So
Okay.
you
Yeah.
are
But yeah,
you
he's
are.
making good money.
So he's making.
And then JJ's a great defender. I still think he's kind of overrated in my opinion.
He can't play the five. I mean, they have
Yeah,
Tillman in the five.
he's too small. He's too small.
So I think that's like an inherent flaw that this team has. I mean, I like,
Yeah. Like they miss Steven Adams. They really miss him.
and it's looking like they don't even really have the money to. I mean, they can keep him next year, but he's getting older. They're going to have to draft
I mean, he's been
some.
injured the last 2 seasons. I don't even think he's worth holding on to. He's just been hurt the last 2 years, and he's getting older. He's like past his prime. I'm not even sure if it's worth it.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, we've watched this Grizzly. The sad thing is, at least from my Timberwolves fan perspective, was that the Grizzlies Timberwolves games became a little rivalry. First
Yeah.
the playoffs, and then even that entire season going into this past season, these Grizzlies and Timberwolves games were electric. Ja
Yeah.
versus Ant, it was so fun to watch. And
Gotta wait till next year, man. Ain't gonna see any good ones this year.
no, I mean, I think I have tickets to the game on Thursday, and it's like I'm not even I can't go because I have class, but like even if I could go, I don't even think I would want to go to that game.
Dude, that's a waste. It's a waste of a game. It'd be
Yeah.
fun. It's just not even entertaining.
Shout out to our sponsors at Bally Sports Network for sending us those tickets. We appreciate it. Thank you, Off the Pine. Well, I don't really have anything else on the Grizz.
Nothing.
Okay.
Let's go to second quarter topic. Let's go to Sacktown. Talk
Light
about
the
the Kings.
beam. Light the beam.
Yeah, Beam Team. Interesting. Yeah, the Kings have been one of those teams that have been kind of just wrapped around in a bunch of trade talks. Whether it was Zach LaVine, it was Siakam, or I mean, oh, it was Anobi for a bit, but obviously that already happened. And I don't know, they're sitting at fifth in the West. 5 games back from the Timberwolves. I don't know. I just like the Kings are just like I mean they're a great team obviously. Fox and Sabonis are having another year where they're playing outrageous all NBA level, and I think they're just kind of like reeking of desperation because they just feel like they're kind of capped out to like a first second round team in the West. I mean, they just aren't at the threshold where the Clippers are, where the Wolves are, where the Nuggets are, um, where the Thunder are right now. They just aren't there. They're in that middle tier of the West. They're just like all these teams got better, and they just didn't. I mean, Keegan Murray, he's getting better day by day, but like that's like the one. I mean, how long are you gonna wait on him to become a all-star or like cusp of like close to an all-star? I mean,
I mean,
yeah,
just like a week ago, he almost broke Curry's 3-point record.
yeah, dude.
I,
Mike Brown he should have let him keep going. He
I don't
was so
know.
hot. He was scorching.
I don't think you can have a young player in this league with his like size and ability and potential physically, just even. I don't think you can
Yeah,
have a player like that get close to. Well, he tied Curry's record. I don't think you can have a guy with those two things going for him and trade him this young in his career when you're
no,
already.
you wouldn't. He's off the table. He's completely off. Keegan Murray's completely off the table.
Yeah, I have him as
Like
untouchable.
what the guys that they would move, like let's say they wanted to take Levine, I think it's a fucking horrible trade.
I have
If
I have
anything,
I have two players that I think they should be down to trade, and it's Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes.
yeah, well those are the guys that would have to go. But first of all, there's a lot of shade on Harrison Barnes. I kind of respect Harrison Barnes. You know exactly what you're getting out of him each and every
Yeah.
night. Like, I don't know. He's so reliable. He's just so. I would love to see Harrison Barnes in a Bulls uniform. I'll take Kevin Huerter too. He's a great shooter. Screw it. We
The
have
Red
Coby White
Rocket.
anyways. We don't need Zach LaVine. We played, but like I feel like LaVine's lost value. Like the
Mm.
Bulls like played better without him, and as soon as he comes back, they look like shit again. Like,
Yeah, I don't think the answer is Levine, and
not.
obviously it's not going to be Siakam anymore the way tonight's looking.
Yeah.
And so I don't really know who the option is. I but I do get the point. It's like the team has all their first round picks except for this season, which is going to Atlanta. Um, I don't see why you don't try to make a splash and add some talent. You know, they're fifth place in a tough Western Conference. You could argue the teams above them have had made leaps over them. I mean, the Kings were what, a two seed last year, if I'm not mistaken. So
Mhm. I mean,
I
like
could,
they face a more experienced, championship like caliber team or championship pedigree team, the Warriors, and you saw what happened. And Steph just outplayed Fox. And I mean, Fox wasn't hurt that last game, who knows? But um,
yeah, I mean, anything's possible. But this team has shown that they're missing. Maybe I
they
would
need
have told
they
them,
need another guy. They for sure need another guy.
and he can be a three. Like he doesn't like Fox is your number one, and Sabonis is your number two. I think you can get away with getting a three and be a competitive team in the West. I don't think you need to get someone better than Fox or Sabonis.
No, not necessarily. Like Anobi would have been perfect for him.
I agree.
But I don't know if I don't know if Anobi's putting them over the hump. I think Levine would just ugh. I think that would be ugly. I just think it would be ugly. I don't like Fox and Sabonis. I don't like a Fox and Levine backcourt. I don't know.
I
Maybe
don't.
it's
I don't.
maybe become so turned off to Levine nowadays. I just like he like I this is like a football comparison. Like it's hard to. I mean, this isn't quite on the money because this guy's won is like been in the playoffs more than Zach, but like Zach Levine is just kind of like empty calories Dak Prescott. Like dude, like this dude just is not a winner. And when like he's just not, he'll put up a shit like great stats and like he'll get a shit ton of garbage time like stats. Like this dude is just like Zach Levine. Like I used to love the guy, but like he's just empty calories in my opinion. And I think teams are starting to see that when they saw how well the Bulls played without him. And like with the injury problems continuing, like we haven't heard Zach Levine talks in weeks.
No,
It was
it's
really hot, but
gone.
we haven't heard anything in weeks because I don't think anyone wants to touch him
It's
personally,
gone. It's gone radio silent.
especially with the
He,
money he makes. I don't think anyone wants to touch him.
no, and I don't. I don't. So exactly where it's like where you're the Kings. It's like
There
is there
isn't anyone really out there.
is
There
there
isn't
even a
anyone out.
move to make? So if there's no move to make, I don't blame some fringe moves on the side if it includes a Huerter or a Barnes. Maybe I don't know what that would be.
I
There's just
just I just don't think there's a move out there for them to make. Like I know, like I was reading something not like today that like there is an offer for Mikal Bridges from the Nets. Apparently, a team offered 4 first round picks, and Brooklyn said no, and they're like dead set on not trading Mikal. Like that would
well,
be a great player for the Kings to go after. Um,
agree, but I mean, the Brooklyn won't trade him because all their first round picks are going to Houston. So
yeah.
you can't really tank. I mean, granted they're in different conferences, but
Well, they would have got 4 first round picks for him if they traded him, but
it's got yeah. But where would what late twenties? If Mikal Bridges is on the Kings, I mean, like they're going to
yeah,
be a top five seed in the West for the next X amount of years.
yep.
This
But yeah,
yeah.
I don't think there's a move for them to make. Maybe they could do something small, like in the buyout market, or maybe make like a just kind of add a little bit more depth to their bench. But overall, I don't think there's like anything this like the teams can really, or I don't think there's anything they can do to like get above that threshold that they're kind of stuck in.
Currently at this break at this coming trade deadline, I would agree. There's nothing they can do right now. But I mean,
Yeah.
all it takes is at the end of the season, who knows? Maybe someone wants out. I is Donovan Mitchell a crazy name for the Kings?
If he were to become available, I bet the Kings would fucking swing for the fences.
That's one name that I was thinking about.
They've been the Knicks are gonna be swinging for the fucking fences.
I don't think the Knicks will be able to do it now with their current roster construction. But that's just unless they get rid of Randall, which with the season he's having, I don't think they're just going to get rid of him for us then replace him with a smaller player. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have many other comments on the Kings besides they're a fun, fast team, and it'll be interesting to see if they make any moves. If they do, they'll be small ones. but alongside you, I don't think they're gonna make any splashes come this February 9 trade deadline. Well, we can move into our third quarter, our second half of tonight's podcast. We have
A very weird team that we've been hearing murmurs about all year. That
murmurs.
I'm just so confused in the direction of this team. We're going to I was sorry, I was trying to make like a rapper reference. I just like blanked out. We're going to A Town. Um, going to the trying to think what Amigos and 21 Savage call the Atlanta. But either way, we're going to talk about the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. I could not
Sorry,
tell.
I was trying. I didn't like. I thought I had like a clever like rap reference in my sleeve, and I kind of just dropped the ball there. But yeah, we're talking about the Atlanta Hawks. Just
Speaking of dropping the ball, let's talk about the front office of the Atlanta Hawks. I mean,
just
what
yeah, it's
is
just very confusing. I'm just very confused in what they're doing.
it is
Like
confusing.
DeJounte Murray's like suddenly available after they just paid the guy. Like talking about maybe trading him to the Lakers. Like talking about maybe trading him back to the Spurs. like and I don't think the trade DeJounte fit is bad. I don't think it's a great fit.
I
I don't
think
think
I think you almost are in a place where I mean the mix between Trae and DeJounte has not worked. And
no.
it's not going to work the way that this
Yeah.
roster is currently constructed. Maybe you try trading, Capella, maybe DeAndre Hunter, and
I mean,
then maybe
they've been
the
trying to
duo
trade.
then
They've been
maybe
trying
that
to
duo will
trade
work.
Capella for a while.
They have, and I'm shocked. I mean, he's definitely past his prime. He's got a 1 year, $22 million left on his contract. That's next year's total, which is kind of a high number, but I mean, this Hawks team is really interesting. They're supposedly sellers. It's what came out a couple weeks ago via the Twitterverse, and I mean, they traded three first round picks to go get DeJounte Murray. They traded a 25 and a 27 unprotected first round pick and a 26 swap rights to their first round pick, and it hasn't worked. This team has been sputtering. They're playing worse than they did after the trade last year. I don't know about the whole DeJounte back to San Antonio. I don't really. I think that's purely
It's
just
interesting. It's
that's
interesting.
just
Like,
rumor.
I mean, I think they just want a better feature guard for Wembanyama. So, like, I get it. I get it.
No, that's just rumors. I don't
Yeah,
believe
I
it.
don't think that'd be so funny if they brought him back. That'd be
Like,
hilarious.
it doesn't make any sense. I
Yeah.
I do I do want to say that yeah, I mean he has 4 years, $114 million left on his contract. Big number for a guy that isn't really a 3 and D type player, but he needs the ball in his hands to thrive. So it kind of puts him in a weird pigeonhole, I guess, for what teams would be looking to get him. The one thing that
Yeah.
I am
The,
starting to become
the Lakers taking DeJounte is just not a needle pusher for me.
no, it's not a needle pusher, but I do. Here, let's start with this. Are there any other players on this team that you think they should trade for or get rid of? Of like
I mean, if like Hunter's just not looked as good as he has, and like as I think as they hoped he would, I don't think there's really any moves for them to make. I know Siakam was on the radar, but like if he goes to the Pacers, then that's wraps. The whole like, so I want to talk about like Trae Young. About like what like the Trae Young slander. Like Trae Young's honestly gotten almost underrated this year. Like his biggest like knack was like the efficiency thing, and he's shooting the shit out of the ball this year. Like
Trae Young,
38 from deep, and like he's averaging fucking 28 and 11. Like he's not the problem. Like he's not. I know Trae Young's not a good defender, but he's giving you 28 and 11 on like shooting the shit out of the ball.
I saw that I don't have it right in front of me, so the number might not be correct, but I saw that Trae Young leads the league in clutch time steals,
Ooh, I like that.
which
It's
is,
an interesting stat.
when the game is within 5 minutes in the fourth quarter and you are between 5 points of your opponent. So I want to talk about Trae Young, and that's why I asked, is there anyone else in this team you think there are any trades for? Because Trae Young just became the this let's see. He became the fastest player in terms of games played to reach 10,000 points, 3,500 assists, and a
Yeah.
thousand three-pointers made, and he did it in 390 games. Okay, the other five guys on the list to even do it are Curry, Dame, Baron Davis, Tim Hardaway, and Kyrie. The quickest one out of those five, Steph Curry, right? He did it in 513 games. So you're telling me that Trae Young did something that only five other guys have ever done ever, and he did so in 200 and let's see, no, that's wrong. In 123 games less than Stephen Curry. I mean, this dude, as you said, he's practically underrated. And the one rumor that I saw that I'm honestly pushing for it. And I
Hmm.
saw a Trae Young trade to the San Antonio Spurs.
Oh.
I think you, if
To the
you're San
two-man game
Antonio,
between Wemby.
th-
Oh, dude.
think about it.
Oh, Leonardo.
You trade back if you're San Antonio, you trade the Hawks back those first round picks that they got in the DeJounte Murray trade.
Yeah.
You pick up Trae Young, and now you have a electric starting point guard who can go out and get you 30 and 10 plus dimes. Wemby and Trae will lead the league in lob passes and lob dunks to each other.
Oh, easily,
This would
easily by a wide margin.
this would
Wouldn't even be
be
close.
could you? I mean, because if you look at this Spurs team, obviously we're talking about the Hawks, but I do think this is a great idea purely because you're watching the Spurs team. They're not even playing Victor over 25 minutes a game, which is blasphemy. Stephen A. Smith, where are you?
Yeah, and he's
And
averaging like damn near 20, 11, and 3 blocks and like a steal and a half. Like it's ridiculous.
playing bench player minutes. And I think watching Victor, he wants to win, he wants to play. You need to put someone on this team that allows
Yeah.
them to compete, or he's yeah, I don't know. Like I get
This
the whole you
this
don't want
off
him to be
season,
injured.
this off season, like and next or like slash like next year, they need to like make a move to give him somebody. Cause this dude's like ready to go. He's ready to like jump out the gates and be like an all-star next year.
He's exactly, and I don't know. I just because if you're the Atlanta Hawks, Trae Young has let's see, I don't how many he has. He's under contract for the next 3 seasons, but the clock is ticking. And
Yeah. You
look,
gotta figure out what you're doing.
if he's looking at his fellow draft class guy Luka Doncic, who has been having an amazing career like him, but has continually been in the playoffs minus 1 year, and they've traded for Kyrie, they've traded for Chris Stapps, they've made moves, they're continually making moves. They're always their name has been in the running to trade for guys like Siakam, and if you're Trae Young, you got to be thinking like, what's happening here? Like, we play in Atlanta. Why can't we go out and get some All Stars? Like Dejounte Murray hasn't worked. Clint Capella
Yeah.
is like solid.
Oneka and Jalen Johnson are nice pieces, but like their guys are still developing. I don't know when they will like actually let Oneka like loose and like I don't know, but
I mean, if you're the Hawks front office, I think realistically you have to trade Clint Capella,
I
and
don't know if anyone wants Clint. No one really wants Clint Capella.
I,
That's the
I bet
thing.
I bet you could trade him to the Lakers and get like some seconds, and I think you do it. And
Yeah,
on top of that, I think maybe Hunter, but I definitely think you trade DeJounte Murray and you try to get someone to replace him so you can see what a lineup of Trae Young and Jalen Johnson and Onyeka Kongwu plus whatever guys they get in return can
you
sort
have
of become.
Bogdanovich still. Um,
If there's any potential with that, and then it's like, okay, what are we missing? Oh, we need a four. Oh, we need a
yeah,
two.
and they've been bad this year too. Like they were a lot. People were like really high on the Hawks this year. I know Zach Lowe like had them at like a 5 or 6 seed. Like there's people that were really high on the Hawks this year, and it's just like Trey's not the problem. I just want to make that clear. Trae Young is not the problem.
No, he's not the problem, and the solution has to be finding guys that play well with him.
Yeah,
And
they
and
just haven't
so
done a good job at that.
so far they have not done a good job. Landry Fields has done a poor job of being the GM when it comes to building around him. Granted, the Mavericks have done a poor job of building around Luka to some extent, but they've kept trying. And right now, the Atlanta Hawks are being stagnant and they're not really trying anymore, which I don't know. I don't know how you can be in that front office and you see the stat coming out that what he just did. Let's see. I don't know what day this was. Yesterday, this came out. I don't know how you don't see that and you're like, well, we need to do something or we're gonna get fired. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's the only thing I would say. Let's see, any other comments about the Hawks?
No, I mean this. I was high on them, but I was high on them this year too. But I don't know. They're an interesting team to watch. They have a lot of pieces that can move around, and don't know if anyone really wants those pieces quite yet. I don't know. I mean, Trae Young's just the most interesting piece. If they're gonna move, if they're gonna do a full on rebuild, or if they're gonna try to better build around Trae. They'll be interesting to watch out for. But yeah,
Well,
that's it. I don't got any more about it.
okay,
That's it.
okay. Well, I think we all know what time it is now. It's time for the fourth quarter. It's coming down. We got two teams battling against each other. Um, yeah, fourth quarter. I think
Oh
it's
yeah,
time.
this will be a fun one. It's my favorite time of the year. It's All-Star picks.
All-star picks. We're doing it a little bit later this year than previously. We usually would do it at the beginning of January before the first returns of the All-Star voting came out, but we're a little bit later. Doesn't mean our votes are any worse. Well, I think we'll kind of go about it like we always do. We'll say our starters, and then we'll go around and say our bench players.
You want to
So,
start with the East or West?
let's start with the East. Start with the East.
Cool. So
So,
the three front court. Sorry, I'll start. I'll let you do. I'll do mine. You do yours, and we'll
yeah,
kind of do a snake. We'll do a snake.
yeah,
Do you want to do reserves or let's do starters? Starters, reserves.
yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So front court players for the East, super easy. Joel, Tatum, Giannis. There shouldn't be three other guys. The backcourt, Halliburton's a no-brainer. The next one, there's a couple guys that are in the mix here, but I think recency bias has a big part to do with it. He's had a great year. His team's playing really good. I'm going Jalen Brunson as my second starting guard for the East.
Um,
Over Mitchell and Maxey. I picked him over
oh,
Mitchell and Maxey.
okay, so I have the same front court, Embiid at the center, Giannis at the four, Tatum at the three. And when you look at the backcourt for the East, like you said, there's so many guys that names should be in this list. Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Maxey are all guys that really
Yeah.
flirted with these spots. But
Maxey's cooled off a lot.
he's cooled off,
Yeah.
and
It's really I feel like it was a two-man race between Brunson and Mitchell for me. I don't know about you.
Donovan Mitchell, yeah. And I just genuinely believe that you can't have two starters on an all-star team unless you're in first place. So I have the same as you, Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton for the
Hell yeah.
East. So
Love it. All right, Jack, give me your reserves.
no, we're doing starters. We're doing West starters now.
Oh, okay, yeah, West starters. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
give
yeah,
me your
yeah.
West starters, man.
Yes. Okay, starting lineup in the West. I'm gonna go easy first. I think the easy selections is the backcourt. SGA and Luca, they've had
Yeah.
the
I
best
don't think
year.
SGA will get it, unfortunately. I feel like Steph's going to end up getting it. But yes,
Yeah,
SGA should be the starting guard with Luca.
yeah. I mean, I also think it's an important thing that I mean, when we do these lists, they are what we think should happen, not what we
Yes.
think will happen
Yeah.
because of voting and stuff. So this is what we
Yeah.
actually believe
Yeah.
should happen if
Absolutely.
if we were controlling it, not if we're trying to guess how people will vote. Because those are always different. LeBron's name would be said much earlier if we were trying to say what will happen instead of what should happen. So yeah, SGA and Luca, I think, are clear cut backcourt starters for the West All Stars. And then for my front court, I have Jokic, man in the middle, and alongside him, I have Anthony Davis and Kawhi Leonard. You probably might be thinking, wow, Anthony Davis and Kawhi. And
Okay, that's cool.
oh,
So I have the same backcourt as you. I have SGA, I have Luca. I have AD, Jokic as well. I have Durant over Kawhi just because Durant has been just an absolute demigod this year. Like his shooting splits are just absolutely like redonkulous. I mean, absolutely just out of this world. He's having an MVP season. Too bad none of his teammates want to play. Like he's like 36-5, like the over like 55, 56 from the field, like 50, almost like 50 from deep. Like the dude's been just an absolute, just unstoppable force of nature offensively. So I have Durant. Then going. So let's go to our reserves for
well,
the
wait,
East.
wait 1 second. I just want to. I get that. I get that. But at some point, it's like, I mean, the only reason why I have Anthony Davis in here, where you would say this in where I'm going to go against my argument, but oh, they're 10th in the West. Why is he in your All Star? Well, he's having his best, arguably his best season of his career. He is going to be top three in Defensive Player of the Year voting, and he's playing offensively like a monster. He's looking like he did in the bubble offensively. So I think AD makes a lot of sense. The Kevin Durant thing is just tough because I think if you have to look at Kevin Durant or Kawhi Leonard, I think Kawhi Leonard is just on a better performing team, having more team success.
Yeah, it's
And
valid. He's on
I
my
just
All Star team. Yeah,
yeah, so I don't know. That's
he's been like a top six player in the NBA the last month, like last month, month and a half. Yeah, I totally get it.
recency bias. I feel like Kawhi has the edge over KD, but that's
Yeah.
nor here nor there. Let's hear your West reserves.
Okay, so over two guards, I got Steph, Fox, three front court players. Cause yeah, so just for our listeners, so it's two guards, three front courts, two wild cards for the reserves. So two guards, I got Steph and Fox. Three front court players I have are Sabonis, LeBron, and Kawhi. Wild card one, Anthony Edwards. This last one is so hard. The last wild card spot is so difficult for me because part of me is like, the Wolves are number one seed in the West. We deserve two All Stars.
Yeah.
People are saying the same thing about the Celtics. That's how Jaylen Brown is making a big case. Like, hey, the best team in conference should have more than one All Star. But then there's like Zion Williams. I think Cat's had a better year statistically than Zion too. And Paul George, like there's I mean, Chet's not quite there yet. He's had a great year, but he's not there.
No,
Um
Chet and Wemby are
no.
I'm
Like
fringe, like
Sengun is another fringe guy. Um I feel like I don't know if he'll get picked, but like I want to put Cat just because like as like the best team in the West, second best team in the league, like I feel like the Wolves should have two All Stars, and Cat's just suddenly been having a really solid season, like 21, almost 10 boards, shooting the shit out of the ball. Like I think the Wolves should have two All Stars. Like you got to reward the best team in the conference. So I went with Cat.
so
I don't think Booker's played enough games.
so your West bench again, say it one more time all together.
Steph, Fox, Sabonis, Kawhi, LeBron, Ant, and Cat.
Okay. So my bench looks somewhat similar. My two guards, I'm going Anthony Edwards and De'Aaron Fox.
Yep.
And my three front court players, I'm going LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Rudy Gobert. And
Oh
then
God, shut the fuck up.
wild
Shut the
card,
fuck up.
for my
Get the
wild card,
fuck
I'm
out of
going
here. Get the fuck out of here with that. Over
my
Sabonis?
yeah over, and then my front court players, I'm going Stephen Curry and
The wild
Sengun.
card?
Sengun, yeah, wild
Oh my
card.
God. Oh my God. Get the fuck out of here with that. Oh my
And the reason
God.
why I have Rudy over Cat, because and Sabonis for that matter, Rudy is arguably leading the Defensive Player of the Year metrics. He's been the most consistent player, other than Anthony Edwards, on this Timberwolves team, and he has by far been the most impactful on our number one defense and our number four net rating team. This team would never be first in the West if it was not for Rudy Gobert
Okay.
and
Okay.
his versatility. So I think Rudy would deserve an All-Star nod over Karl Anthony Towns, even if Cat is a better offensive player. when it comes to consistency and who's been the best, I would say Rudy has been the second best player on this Timberwolves team.
Okay, that's all
And
right.
Sabonis,
Fair, fair. But
I
why
like
Sengun over Sabonis? You need to give me a really fucking good explanation. Sabonis is having like a really, really good year. He's
I
having arguably his best year.
I just I don't know. He probably I have an asterisk over Sengun because like it's
It's
really
Sabonis. It's Sabonis.
I just don't like putting two guys from the same team on an all-star team unless they're first.
Yeah. Dude, he's averaging 20, almost 13 boards and 8 assists on 61 from the field. Sabonis is absolutely there over Sengun. It's not even close. But
Yeah,
I'll let you have it. It's a fair justification. I'll let you have it.
it's just
Let's,
like it's tough. Obviously, like I don't know. It's
all
so
right. Yeah. You said it. It's cool. It's cool. Go to your East reserves. I'm moving on. I'm not going to get into the whole Sengun. Sengun's had a great year, but I'm not going to get into
yeah.
it.
I
He's had a great
I
year. Great player. He'll be in All-Star games for in the future.
in a
I
couple
don't think he's
seasons.
making I don't think he's making this one. He'd be like a quick. If someone's hurt or something, like Sengun would probably be one of the first guys to get put in there. But
Well,
yep.
my East reserves for my two guards, I'm going Trey Young, Donovan Mitchell. I think that's pretty
Hmm.
easy. And then for my three front court players, I'm going Jaylen Brown, Bam Adebayo, and Paolo Banchero. And for the two wild cards, I'm going Tyrese Maxey and Scotty Barnes.
Okay. That's a pretty fair team. So for my guards, I had it was Maxi, Mitchell, three front court players. I also had Paolo. Um, I don't like love putting Jaylen Brown there, but I feel like he just like for the Celtics being the best team in the league, like you got to they have to have two All Stars, and Brown obviously is the second most valuable player in that team. He's had more of a down year this year, but like it's just hard for the Celtics' success this year. I think it's impossible to leave Jaylen Brown out of this. I know there's
Absolutely.
been the whole Derek White conversation, but like, come on, Brown's more valuable than Derek White. Like, he's the second best player on that team. Um, I know
Derek
Zach
White
Lowe,
Derek
like,
White is averaging the just a little titch better than what Jaime Jaquez Jr. is averaging in
yeah,
Miami.
yeah.
So
So
yes,
I
he's
have,
playing great, and yes, he looks amazing on this Boston team. But if there's no way Derek White is an all star over Jaylen Brown, like
yep,
I just
agreed. Yep, exactly. I mean, like, yeah, Derek White is a phenomenal role player. He's not an all star. He's a phenomenal role player, elite role player. That is who
elite
he is.
elite.
Elite.
If we ever make maybe at the end of the season we make a
He's the fourth, fifth best player on a championship team. That's
yes.
what he is.
I think maybe we even make a role player, rankings, a role player ranking system. Maybe that'd be a
Yeah.
fun thing to do. But yeah, he's a role
All
player.
right.
He's not an all-star. Keep going.
Yep. So yep. Again, I had Brown for those front court. I had Brown, Paolo, just because like the Magic for the year they had. I think they deserve a guy to get into the game this year, and I think Paolo. But he's been their lead guy, so I have Paolo. Bam was a no brainer for me. And then my wild cards, I have Trae Young, and then Trae Young and Dame.
Dame. Yeah, Dame is I know. I was pandering between Julius Randle, Dame,
I
and
know. I
Scottie
hate
Barnes.
putting Randall on the All Star team, but he's probably the first guy that gets in if someone's hurt.
Yeah, I get it for Randle. It's just like it's so tough when it comes to choosing two players from the same team.
Like the Bucks have been great this year. The Bucks have been great. I know Dame's like in comparisons had like a down year, but he's still averaging like 26 a night. He had a fucking crazy game winner the
That
other
game
night.
winner.
Like yeah, that game like dude the
That
like
game
it hanging in the air fading away like that was ugh, so
just just
crispy.
just watch it. I don't know if you
I
saw
just
the
don't think Dame is like yeah, I don't think he has his foot on the gas right now. I think Dame's like for the first time in his career, Dame does not need to put his foot on the gas during the regular season. I think he's been like playoff time. I think that's where we're gonna see the beast get unleashed.
two things. That game winner from the behind angle. So if you're watching him from behind, just take that pick from Brooke Lopez and
Yeah.
go cross court, move to the left, fade. Watching that ball move in was like, I think that's his best like physical game winner. like not
Ooh,
not situational. Like obviously the Paul George is a more important game winner. And when he was against Houston, that was a more important game winner. But when it comes to like his physical, like coolest, best game winning 3-pointer, I think that clears.
yeah, hell
Um,
yeah. It was crazy. Just like the spin on the ball, the hang time, the way he faded away was crazy for sure. But yeah, so those are all-star teams.
but I do agree with you. I don't think he has his foot on the gas. I think he's just figuring out his team, and him and Giannis are still figuring out
Yeah.
their tandem. So I come playoff team, I think I'm really excited to see what he can do next to Giannis.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun.
Well,
Any overtime thoughts?
I do have a couple.
I have one. I have one.
Okay,
So
yeah, start it off.
here's my Bulls take. We had Michael Jordan. We had Derrick Rose. Been waiting for the next coming. Who is the next Messiah? And then out of nowhere, the kid from North Carolina, Coby White, is next up. He's him. I was high on him in the draft, and he's come. He's here. He is the next to save us. He is the next of kin. He is the next MVP of the Bulls. It is Coby White. Can't convince me otherwise.
Well, I definitely am gonna clip that and put that on TikTok just because it's too funny not to.
This is like just trade Zach LaVine to the Kings and put Harrison Barnes and Tevin Whitter around Coby White. It's his team. Just make it his team. Like Kobe was winning games for us when Zach was gone. This guy was dogging teams. He's got his confidence. He's shooting the shit out of the ball. He's a fucking speedster. He's a beast. It's a beast. It's Kobe's team.
Wow. Um, I have I have no comment. I haven't
on
watched.
today's episode of Manic Bull Fan.
I haven't watched a single Bulls game this year, so I
I
honestly
barely watch the Bulls. I watch all the highlights, but I really don't like. I can't stand watching them play a full four
so
quarters.
I have two things I want to say. One's kind of a joke. Do you want to hear the joke part of my overtime?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to.
Okay, so I recently found out that Trig has been charging NBA League Pass to my credit card.
Wait, what?
Yeah, gotcha.
How?
Oh, you know. You
Wait, are you
know.
serious?
Yes, yes,
Wait, Jack,
I
actually, how?
I just got the your league pass has been renewed, and I
Dude,
was
I don't even. I haven't used League Pass all year, so I don't even know about it.
well,
Wait, that makes no sense.
I don't know who else would have
No, I
done.
I don't I don't have. You can check my devices. I have not watched League Pass all fucking year.
Well, if you're interesting.
Because I remember you used to have League Pass.
Yeah.
Was it hooked up to your YouTube TV?
No, it's hooked up through my NBA account, which I gave
Yeah.
to you to use, and now it
I
mysteriously has a new purchase order for 16.99 for this month's league pass.
Does it automatically renew? Because I literally didn't even know I would have been watching more games. But yeah, no, I don't even know I have it. I haven't even used it.
Okay, okay. Well, moving on from that, there are two things that are really quick. So have you seen anything about the Clippers wall?
Uh,
So
no.
the Clippers in their new stadium that they're making are gonna have behind one of their baskets, it's gonna be called the wall, and
Yeah.
basically it's going to be like college basketball in there. You cannot cheer for the opposing team. You cannot wear
Wow.
opponent's gear.
That's sick.
Tickets can be only resold for those seats on like a Clipper marketplace, so it'll only go to Clipper fans.
That's sick.
And you can get season tickets just for those seats that will range between five
That's
thousand
cool.
dollars and
I'm
twenty
into
five
that.
thousand dollars.
That's cool.
And
I like it.
I think that is the coolest idea for a new stadium, and I hope that when the Timberwolves get around to building a new Target Center, where they obviously won't call it the Target Center anymore, RIP. When that does happen, it'd be electric if we could have something similar to this. And my final little overtime metric, unless you have something, is
No.
Zach Lowe just came out and said that he is done for being a voter for
Yep. Oh yeah, I did see that on his podcast. I get it. There's a lot of stress. I think he just wanted to alleviate the stress. He doesn't want to be held accountable for. Because Zach Lowe has like his definitely has like his crazy like opinion, like his analytic opinions, and he has his favorites. So I totally get it. I get it.
it's interesting though. I mean, he's one of 100 voters for that stuff, and I just
Yeah.
think it's. I mean, Kendrick Perkins has a vote. I mean, like, I don't know about that.
Don't know about that. It's questionable.
That's a questionable vote, but it is interesting to see Zach Lowe, who's been a voter for probably the last 10 years, come out and speak on the fact that he doesn't want the responsibility slash he doesn't want people to be holding him accountable for not making certain clauses in their contracts or not being able to available to make more money in the future. Uh, so yeah, go Zach Lowe. I think that takes a lot of cojones to do. Well,
Yeah.
Tyler, Trade.
That's real as hell, man. Zach Lowe's a real one. I'm a big fan. We both are big fans. But yeah, well, that was a electric episode. Maybe we had next week we can talk about this potential Woj bomb. But I'm excited to
Yeah,
see what the
I
next
think
week has in store for us.
we'll definitely, whether we record on Sunday or next Tuesday, we'll figure that out. But in the meantime, remember, there's no more riding the bench. It's Jack and Trade, and we're off
We're
the
off the
pod.
pod.
Sick, sick, sick,
Good
sick.
episode. Good episode. Good episode.